Wabash Valley Prison in Indiana contains a super maximum security unit. Some of the state's most ruthless and dangerous prisoners are housed here. For its 2,200 inmates, the reality of life inside this prison is hard time. Prisoners don't always leave their crimes behind when they enter the gates of Wabash Valley.
We've had a couple homicides. We have a lot of assaults. This is a subculture in here. We have the same type of crimes that you have in the streets.
Manual, what range? 2 J1s, 1 J3.
This is a super maximum facility here within the state of Indiana, and this facility houses some of the state's worst of the worst. Whenever they become combative, assaultive on one another or on staff, they're sent to this facility and are housed in the secured housing unit where they're locked down for 23 and a half hours a day.
Secure 9.
As head of internal affairs, Don Tyler, a former detective, is the prison's top cop. He and his unit investigate any crimes committed within the facility's walls.
Tyler. All the offenders in the secured housing unit are dangerous. Some of them are serving multiple life sentences. They have nothing to lose, and this is the end of the road for them. Recently, we had a situation where 3 offenders on the rec pad feigned an injury to one of them and requested a nurse. Instead of the nurse responding, 3 staff members responded to the door on the medical emergency. At the rec pad door, when the officers came to check on the medical emergency, they ordered the offenders to cuff up for their own protection, not knowing that the door was jimmied. The offenders jerked the door open and come charging out with their shanks, slashing and cutting at the officers. The officers started backing up towards the core door in order to escape the attacking offenders. They were putting their hands up, taking the slashes and cuts to their arms and their face. At the door, a tug of war ensued where the officers out here were trying to pull this officer on into the core area. The offenders had a hold of him pulling on that side. After the tug of war at the door, the officers were able to get out into the core area and get the door secured. Thus, there weren't any injuries, but the officers could have been killed if they hadn't got out this doorway.
Dan Haskins was the officer being pulled through the range doors by his colleagues. He suffered a stab wound to his shoulder.
Apparently, during that time, I knew I was hit in the head with a sock full of batteries. At that time, I didn't know I was stabbed. There's always a touch of fear. Working here, if you haven't got a touch of fear, you don't need to be here.
Officer Haskins never assumes that the cell doors are locked when he walks the range. He knows they can be jimmied open by inmates, ready for a fight.
But when you come out on a range, you got to prepare yourself. Something can happen. That a door can't open up and that offender can't come out. These guys get out, in which it has happened. They're going to come at you with the intent to hurt, maim, or kill. You have to keep that in the back of your mind, that this is prison. Take a reality check, realize where you're at, keep it under control.
Staff have to be ever vigilant while working around these offenders. You never know when they're going to go off.
Area clear. 95, you copy?
As an example, we had a nurse treating an offender for self-inflicted wounds.
The offender I was working with in the SHU was not emotionally stable. But he was also an angry person, and that's just his basic makeup.
Now, normally these offenders are handcuffed with their behind their back. Due to the nature of these wounds, we had to leave the cuffs in front so she could treat him. See what happens here.
He had threatened me 2 hours before he hit me. He had previously injured other officers that morning and had thrown stuff on other officers that morning. And he was in 4-point restraints. That's why he was on film for everything. And we had to give him a forced injection to help calm him. He did not like that, did not want that, and he threatened. 2 hours later, he had pulled open an old wound from earlier in the morning where he had cut himself and inflicted a wound. And when I was cleaning it, he got his chance to get even with me, and he took it.
Yeah, you just hit the shit out of me. Yeah.
I don't know that I was so much angry with him. I think the anger came later. Initially, I think my first impression was I was so shocked that it actually happened. 184. Let's have a seat. Right here. How you doing, Mr. Payne?
All right.
Despite her brutal attack, Nurse Rabina Darkis came back to work in the secured housing unit the next day. But her ordeal was far from over. She got blood in her eyes during the attack, so was immediately given medication to prevent AIDS, but ended up suffering side effects that kept her off work for a month.
She just hasn't been real cooperative up to now with your shooters. Are you still cheating in the kitchen?
Oh, most definitely.
How do you expect us to get a handle on your blood sugar, Mr. Payne, if you don't help us? I went through anger over the exposure because I was physically sick, you know. And I went through the anger that, you know, he hit me and that I was trying to help him and he hit me, you know. I was treated for post-traumatic stress over it, and so my family lived through hell for a month, you know, because it was probably 2 to 3 weeks before we found out that he was not currently HIV positive, but you can never be sure that they're not incubating for at least 6 months, so.
Yeah, you just hit the shit out of me.
Nurse Darkis was determined to testify when the offender was sentenced in an outside court.
Is that on camera?
But I wanted him to understand that I was not afraid to face him. You know, and I also wanted him to understand that that's not acceptable behavior for anybody. Even an animal doesn't act like that, you know.
This man was charged in an outside court and received an additional 3 years on his sentence. Originally, he was serving 12 years for carjacking. After he serves that sentence for carjacking, he will serve 3 more years for what he done to this nurse.
I think it's totally ridiculous that the most they can get is 3 years for assaulting a staff member. I think that's pathetic.
Yeah. Big Tom was saying that he's going to give you a run for your money now. You know,
on deadlift record.
Yeah. Think it's going to get you?
No,
you going to rise to the occasion?
No, I'm going to rise to the occasion.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't work as hard for nothing to be champions for nothing, you know.
It's the final night of the prison's weightlifting competition. The night that decides if Rebel Givens and Robert Bell will successfully defend their titles.
Yeah.
I could lay back and just watch him, you know, try to go for my record. But I was trying to get another record, which was the bench.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get it this year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to get you.
He's in my way. I got to let him know something tonight. This man here's in my way.
The psychological warfare has already begun.
Man from the boys. This is about 100 pounds. When I hit this 535, 540, he's got to go 635 or 640.
Hard to get you? Yeah. Got to stay focused. Woo-wee. Can't burn too much energy trying to wait for it. Got to go and get it. Got to go and get it. Don't talk about it, be about it. You ready? You ready? You got to be about it. Don't talk about it, be about it. Who's doing what?
That's the guy that had the, he had 5 on 5.
No, he got 530.
Give
me some!
Put that shit to the floor. Come on, man. Let's go.
Wow!
Come on. Drive it, man. Bar
Get
speed,
this shit,
man.
mother.
Bar speed.
Don't
Drive
pay
it off
man
the
again. Get out of my way!
Drive it off the floor, man.
Yeah! I see you, baby. Oh! I see you, baby.
Here we go. Campbell's coming up. Got hold of the bar. Here we go. Get in concentration. Up we go. Good lock. Good lift. Good lift. Excellent lift.
Offender Campbell has just deadlifted 280 kilograms, almost 3 times his own body weight.
I'm coming, baby! I like baby. How you look, baby? Look good? RB, you run this here. Huh? You run this here, my guy.
A lot of people think that this is all brute strength. Probably about 75% of this stuff is mental, you know, concentration. The mind thing is what basically gets you through these meets, because I can't go in there just any day of the week and just pick up 600 pounds off the floor. I just can't do it. I mean, I gotta really focus, I gotta really psych myself up, because I'm only 230 pounds.
Work, baby. Work. Your money, baby. Go to work, pal. Go to work. To the head. To the head. You run this. This is you, baby. You run this, RB. To the head, baby.
650 pounds for Bell.
You got one over here hating, though. You got a judge that's hating.
Here he comes to the bar. 650 pounds. Good pull right here. Here we go.
Hosanna! Hosanna! Bless this man to come in the name of the Lord. Hosanna! Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
565, right? Gibbons up to 565. Good concentration. Here we go.
All these guys, Bell, Gibbons, they're already at the professional level without the hardware that you can get on the outside. When you lift on the outside, you have suits you wear for increase your strength, and they don't have those, and they're doing the weights that those people are doing without it. So if they get supplementation and the proper apparel, they could do a lot more weight.
Zeus!
Campbell's coming up for 615. Here he comes. He's gonna stampede like a bull. Here we go. Here we go. Easy coming. Here we go. Here we go. See what he's got. Find out what he's got. Here we go. He did not even get it hardly off the floor.
Campbell, known affectionately on the inside as Soup, may have blown this lift, but he's already outlifted his competitors.
Yeah, he's got the competition tonight, and he's burning. He got him.
I'm the master! Come on, dude, let me know! In the name! Let me know the master! Yes,
600 pounds for Hankins right here. 600.
your lift. Hankins was perfect.
10 more pounds. 10. You're just gonna get stronger as it go. What you want?
Try what you want.
665, baby.
Get money.
Yeah, I'm going 665 on this. This is it. This is my last one.
It better be perfect. Come on, let's go.
Turn on the light brights and talk to it. Turn on the light brights and talk to it, baby. Pull that shit up. RB. You run this, man. This is your event. This here is your big brother.
I'll visualize my lift. I'll walk through the whole lift in my head. I will actually complete the lift in my head before I'm even out there at the meet. So when I'm at the meet, then tunnel vision comes into play. I don't see nothing else, don't hear anybody, don't see nothing but that bar. It's me in that bar, and I just go and execute. It's all about a mind game. You got to psych yourself up. No pain, no gain.
Griffin, stop putting enough weight on the bar. Gonna be hard to call. It'll be a hard one to call because he does a lot of shaking. And he's gonna shake like a leaf in a 100-mile-an-hour wind. There we go. Good concentration right here. This will be the hardest call for the night right here. He didn't get it. I ruled him down. Too much shaking. Too much shaking. I can't give it to him. Too much shaking. The side judges might be able to see it different, but too much shaking. Looks like the bar from here, sitting there up and down. I can't give it to him, so it went down.
I thought he wasn't jerking and he got his shoulders locked out. Now he thought, I mean, of course he got a little more experience at it than Judge and I have, but he calls this hitching. I thought he came up fairly smooth, but he didn't hesitate. He didn't drop the bar down. That's what I call hitching. It was an upward movement. It looked good to me. At that weight, it looked darn good.
It was a good lift, you know. I got it up, I locked it out. One judge gave me the thumbs up, one judge gave me the thumbs down.
I was trying to break my own record with you know, some type of, you know, damages in regard to, you know, the
if we had lost these things, then we might have some big argument about the amount of damages involved, and you could come in and argue about the amount of time you put in, and we've lost these, and maybe we didn't. I mean, I've spent more time on your bug and your medallions, quite honestly, than I care to. You know, I mean, and I agree, and I understand they're important to you. I'm not trying to diminish their importance to you. I'm just saying I got lots of stuff on my plate, and you know, we're way past the point of diminishing returns with me on this.
That's my point. You're making my point for me.
No, my point.
This is an unnecessary event.
But what's unnecessary is the idea that we're going to pay you hundreds of dollars for your stress and strain. Who's going to pay me for my stress and strain?
This is not for stress. This is for exemplary damages. This is to correct behavior and practices.
The bug case continues. The yard is the prisoners' playground. But it's not just a place of exercise. This is also where the prisoners go to take care of business, legal or otherwise. It might look peaceful, but the potential for trouble is everywhere.
Y'all ain't gotta come and harass me. I'm not gonna bother nobody if don't nobody bother me. You know, and that's the bottom line.
A key player in keeping the peace is Intelligence Chief Alan Finnan, who heads the prison's security threat group.
Quit harassing them about little petty stuff. That's what needs to be said around here. And that's all I got to say.
March or April of next year.
As he works the yard, Alan Finnan makes sure he's alert to any issues that might arise amongst the prisoners. Small problems can very quickly become big problems here.
As a unit down there, when you're locked in this cell and a population locked down, you don't have nothing.
Okay.
You know, you got to smell your bunker using the bathroom. You got to listen to him. I mean, it's stressful, man.
You have two people in a cell. This is a two-man cell facility.
The security threat group has to be ready to react to incidents anywhere in the prison, anytime.
Where is it? 10G left. 10G left. Weapons assemble, master control. 10G left. Nurse 127.
Hey, Van Vliet, I know your business, Marshall. Hey, have you got any names on that 1010 yet? How many they got brought in yet? And oh, you've got one in D now? Okay. Did he look like he was pretty seriously hurt? Do you know what their race was? Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Okay, thanks, bud. All right. Hey, that was a black and white over in G.
We probably need to go over there and check it out. Who was it?
Nobody can give me any names. They don't know, but there's they got a black guy cuffed in G and a white guy in D medical right now.
Was there any weapons involved?
I know there was injury. I don't know what about weapons yet. No one knows anything just yet, so we need to at least check it out.
Let's go that way?
Okay. I'm gonna go get my hat,
One thing that we have to do immediately respond to any possibility of the racial issues because it's a much greater problem, white versus black.
Riggs. They took the other guy out before I came to see him.
Took him out to where?
They're both down here in DSEG.
Is there one of them still in medical? No, they're both in their cells.
No, they're both
from me?
Yeah. Hold me!
Probably the greatest issue that we have, or the greatest fear that we have, is for it not to be a gang issue or a security threat group issue, but a race issue. Because when it becomes a race issue, it's not the disciples against the vice lords against the Latin kings. It's the disciples and the vice lords and the Latin kings uniting against the Aryan Brotherhood, the Aryan Circle, the Ku Klux Klan, and a white supremacist group. When it becomes a racial issue, everything expands exponentially. He's on some medication, but I don't remember what he's taking. I just ran them both on OIS, and Van Blaricom is a confirmed Aryan Brotherhood, 1, 5, and 8. Riggs is unaffiliated. Riggs has he's in for theft conversion. He's got a rape charge. I don't know the details of that just from the computer. So I suggest we pull him out. Let's see.
Hey, Sergeant Johnson, Sergeant Marshall. Hey, can you come down here and explain what happened over down?
Did he jump you from the back, or what happened?
I don't even know.
Okay.
I don't even.
Good deal.
You know who it was?
I don't even know.
You don't have any idea whatsoever.
It's probably just a horseplay that just got out of hand.
You were horse playing?
Yeah, it was a horseplay, really.
But you don't know who you were horse playing with?
No.
I got up from talking to a couple of friends, you know. I started walking towards my room. Next thing I know, you know, guys just started swinging at me, you know. And I defended myself. I grabbed him. I defended myself. I grabbed him, and we both fell over the bench, you know. That was it.
Did he boot you in the face?
No, I think that's from the bench.
So you hurt your shoulder and your face on the bench?
Yeah, when I fell across the bench, I fell on my shoulder when I went across the bench.
He said I was targeted. You know, he said he got word by a group called the Brotherhood organization that do something to me and so forth, you know.
It looks kind of like a circle. How'd that happen on a bench?
I hit the side of the bench when I went down on the bench where the bench,
you know, you mess with one of theirs, then, you know, they have somebody do something to you, I guess. I guess he was called an enforcer.
Just, he was talking about the white guys, and I was, you know, you can't be doing that, man, because they ain't involved in nothing like that.
What white guys?
The Aryan brothers.
And what
from
were they
the other
involved
side
in?
and 3 and over here.
What was he saying about them?
He was just talking bad about them. I told him, don't be doing that. You wouldn't be talking bad about them if they was here.
I got 8 babies out there that I'm trying to get home to see, you know. And I'm not going to go out here and try to be a hero when I know that my life is you know, it's been threatened, you know. But I'm not going to go out here and try to play hero, get me a weapon, and go out here and try to play hero, you know. Because, you know, the same thing, I can get stabbed just like I can't stab an individual. It can happen to me, you know, in the process of trying to stab an individual, you know. And I don't need that in my life.
Who threw the first punch?
You did, didn't you?
I ain't gonna lie to you.
I know you're not.
Hey,
You've been solid that way.
Hey, I ain't gonna let nobody take a first punch on me.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right.
Need to defend the Riggs also.
I'm saying the guy that got in here first, he didn't have nothing to do with Doris playing.
Let's see.
I mean, I really wanted nothing to talk about. I just told them.
Sit down. You told them, you didn't tell me, okay?
Okay.
Stay with me, okay?
All right.
Be patient with me. Be patient with me. You're a patient man. Stay with me on this, okay? At this point, let me tell you what we've got, okay? You didn't start the fight, okay? What we got is you responded after the other offender started the fight. How did it turn racial?
Racial?
Racial. So he's telling the truth about he started the fight, but he's lying when he's saying some of the comments were racial?
I mean, I don't know what he said. I mean, you said he started the altercation.
He basically said that you and he were talking, you made some comments he took exception to, those comments were racial in nature, and that he basically went after you.
No, I don't have no problem with being no racial thing, you know.
You don't have a problem with what?
No.
I'm white, believe that the white should rule the world. We're the supreme and the chosen people. The white people, they just stay with the white group. Blacks stay with the blacks, the reds stay with the reds, just like that. My whole family's Klan members, so it's just pretty much, I was born in that way.
What did you say to set him off? Quote yourself to me.
I mean, what I say.
What did you say just before he went off on
We
you?
was talking about a game, you
What
know.
game?
And,
What game?
Football game.
Which one?
San Diego and Oakland played last night.
Okay. San Diego and Oakland played last night. That's the game you were talking about?
Yeah.
He let that bitch word come out of his mouth. And it's here in prison, you don't do that in prison. That's one thing that you don't do is call another man a bitch. And when you do, you're just asking for problems.
I mean, he likes San Diego, I like Oakland. I said they was bums or something.
Who was bums?
San Diego.
You just were talking about a football game.
Yeah.
They were bums.
Yeah.
Is this the first time you've lied to me in this conversation?
I never met you before.
I say in this conversation.
That was the first time I lied.
That you've lied to me in this conversation right now.
I don't believe in lying.
Then why are you
I don't
doing
think
it?
I should
Then
have to
why
lie
are
to
you
you.
doing it? Then why are you?
No, I'm not lying. I don't think I should have to.
Let's put it away. You're done.
I mean, I can't. I'm telling you what y'all don't want to hear. So
I don't know.
No, you're not. That's exactly what you're not doing.
That's true. That's okay.
Okay. Zag, y'all gonna do what y'all want to do anyway. I mean, so
That's right. One back.
I know it's reverse psychology. I'm up on psychology.
Ben Blattercombe?
Yes.
894792.
Yeah.
You've been charged with committing a battery upon another person without a weapon or without inflicting serious injury. Ben Blattercombe did admit that the altercation was the result of having a verbal confrontation, which led to a physical confrontation with offender Riggs.
Bruce Van Blericombe is charged with assaulting Kenneth Riggs and faces an internal disciplinary hearing. 3 staff members will decide his fate.
Van Blericombe further stated that any time someone disrespected the Aryans, it was a bylaw of the Aryan Brotherhood. A confrontation would develop, and being disrespected was something he took very serious. He pled not guilty?
Yeah. I pleaded not guilty.
What do you got to tell us?
I'm guilty. That's basically it. It's all in my past. I just got out of lockup anyway. I ain't been out about 6 months. I ain't even been out a month.
For what?
Well, they locked me up for a battery, but it got overturned, so they filed a bitch for on me.
So you want to tell us what happened?
And that basically tells everything right there. That's it.
And step right there and have a seat. He admitted he's guilty. He admitted he did it.
Van Blericombe's privileges are at stake, including his access to the telephones and the prison shop, and credit time on his sentence for good behavior.
You can take one credit class on a B.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Board believes conduct report to be true and accurate and accepts your amended plea of guilty. Written reprimand, don't fight. 2 months phone loss, 6 months disciplinary SAG suspended, and demotion from credit class 2 to credit class 3. All right. Thanks.
At his hearing, Kenneth Riggs received exactly the same sentence as Van Blericombe, even though he didn't throw the first punch. Since that hearing, Riggs claims there's been yet another incident where he was verbally threatened.
I was sitting on my bunk, and the main door kept opening and closing, and I heard the word says, "You's a dead nigger, KC." You know, KC, exact words, KC, you're a dead nigger. I would consider it very dangerous and very serious situation that I'm in. That's not been taken serious from this hearing, from the administration. So I don't go to rec. I don't even go in the rec yard, you know, because I fear for my life.
I think it is exaggerated, in my opinion. We looked into the remark. We didn't think that the remark was made. We investigated, prepared a report, and passed it on to the assistant superintendent in that area and the superintendent. And we also checked his background, and his background is such that he has been wanting to move from this facility for some time now, He's not happy here, and in some ways, our belief is that he was using this as a reason to try to be transferred from this facility.
Negotiations to settle the bug case continue.
I just don't think this rises to that level. So if you want to make a reasonable demand on me, I'm
What is reasonable?
Well, I don't, that's your, what's reasonable is we send this stuff home, we dismiss the lawsuit, I'll get your out-of-pocket expenses reimbursed for you, and we all live and learn. You learn not to wear items that you shouldn't be wearing.
Would you be willing to do this?
Well, I don't know.
Would you be willing to recommend the 2402 out-of-pocket cost and $30 in damages?
No, probably not.
There's a reason why I'm asking for specifically $30.
Why? Explain to me how, okay, how do you come up with $30?
The facility has assessed a $30 restitution against me.
I got nothing to do with that, Mr. Burton.
I noticed. This is why I'm just explaining.
All right.
With $30, I'm asking to balance the scale. Tip the scale here. Balance the scale.
It's got nothing to do with this lawsuit.
I understand that.
Okay.
But that was the reason you asked me for what price. You asked me for a number.
Right, and I thought we reached it a minute ago, but now you're telling me you want $30 on top of that? Is that where we're going? So you can balance the scale, as you put it?
Yes, to balance the scale of justice.
Well,
okay? That's what I'm talking about here. It's about justice for me. Actually, this whole thing is about justice.
I'm talking about the law. And the law is that I can't settle something that has nothing to do with this lawsuit in this lawsuit.
But it does in regard to damages. All right? Now, I was just saying, I would just ask for your recommendation for the $30, or if you could,
I'll make the recommendation.
Can this document be revised?
Sure, it can, but I mean, let's do this. You keep that document, you keep it, you study it. I'll make the recommendation for the court costs plus the $30. As I told you earlier, I don't think they'll go along with that.
All right.
Excuse me, but I'll then make another recommendation that's just for the plain old court costs, okay?
Yes.
And I'll communicate back to you what I find out, okay?
All right. Yeah. All right.
Is that fair enough?
That's fair.
Okay, I'll let you know.
Yeah, it's for my loved ones, family back home that may see this. It's me. Hi.
Sergeant Glottal returning the
It's me, Charles Winston Burton III. That loving brother and son. I like respecting Mother Nature and everything that he created. It's the perfection of a bug. I wish we humans could be as perfectly put together, as a ladybug, as a beetle, as a spider.
Right. No, I understand. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye. Well, that was the Attorney General's office. We just got off the phone with them after our conversation with Mr. Burton yesterday. He'd sent a letter asking for additional demands on top of what we talked about yesterday. So I reviewed those with the Attorney General's office, and basically their response was that we would see him in court. So I've written a reply to Mr. Burton letting him know that. And make a copy and send that reply back to him, and which will probably engender yet another letter from him, probably adding more demands, or perhaps adding me as a defendant, I don't know. But in any event, the saga continues and the bug case goes on.
Next time in Wabash Valley, there's a wedding in the prison. And contraband cigarettes stir things up.